Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your time today. So as you're all are aware, because you're attending, we have a stakeholder meeting to go over some changes to some marketing practices advisories. I'm Matthew Cherry. I'm an attorney for the commission, and also with me I have Joshua Alexander, the Director of Audit and Investigations Division. Today we're going to go over draft edits that have been made to Marketing Practices Advisory 14, which covers offering price discounts for alcohol sold to consumers. It incorporates the agency's kind of position on an interpretation of the Rule 45-101 that covers coupons and rebates and then some inducements, and then also the recent rule that was drafted to cover loyalty programs 45.102. And with that, I will get started. Okay, so first up, we're going to start with the Marketing Practices Advisory 14. So a lot of you may remember this advisory. It's been in existence for a while. The first time it was published was back in 2005. Since that time, we have had updates, like I just previously referenced, to the new Rule 45-102 covering loyalty programs. So I'll go over kind of the main changes that have and updates that have been made to this. So the first topic starts with kind of the general rule, and you'll find this in 45.101 subsection A that talks about the prohibition against giving an inducement with the purchase of alcoholic beverages. One of the things that we wanted to make clear with this is that does not mean that there can't be discounts that are provided to the consumer with their purchase. One of the biggest thing to note, I think, with this is also that you cannot require the consumer to present a coupon in order to take advantage of any type of promotion. But if it's a discount that is going to be just provided to everybody that is a general consumer without having to, clip something out and then present that over in order to receive the discount, the commission does not view that as a illegal inducement or as a coupon. One of the main things is we included two examples that I think a lot of people will be used to seeing, in stores when they go shop and purchase alcohol. One of them is the biggest one that I always see. You can save 10% when you buy 2 or more bottles of wine, also or receive $5 off when you purchase 2 or more 6-packs of beer to go. So we view those as a kind of a quantity discount, and we do not have a problem with that. And these examples kind of make that clear and something that anyone can use in their practice in selling the alcohol to consumers. The next set of examples that we give covers what could be perceived as an illegal inducement. I think the main thing to remember with this is that requiring the purchase of an alcoholic beverage in order for the consumer to receive some sort of other free item or discounted item, that is going to be what is considered the illegal inducement to purchase alcohol. So if you're going to require an alcohol purchase to receive something else, that's the inducement, and that's the problem. We included 2 examples of that. So the first one is buy 3 or more bottles of wine and receive a free wine opener. So obviously in that case, to get that wine opener item, there was a requirement to purchase alcohol. That's a problem. And then the next example we used is receive 10% off in-store mixers when you purchase 2 or more bottles of vodka. Again, it's requiring the purchase of alcohol in order to receive the other item, and that's viewed as an inducement. The other big addition, and I think this is probably the main addition, is the section right below that covers loyalty programs. Most of this regurgitates what we already have in the rule that was, I think, published at least maybe 2 months ago. So I'll kind of go over the bigger kind of do's and don'ts with that. So with any sort of loyalty program, the retailer and or potentially a manufacturer that is authorized to sell directly to consumers, they may offer discounts on the purchase of alcohol and non-alcoholic beverage products or other items that are sold directly to the consumer. The loyalty program may have a point accrual or redemption component to it, wherein that when the consumer makes purchases of alcohol or non-alcoholic products, they accrue kind of points, and then that point system is used as a discount later on throughout the loyalty program for the consumer. One of the main things that we have in here is that those points can only be awarded on purchases sold directly to the consumer by the manufacturer or retailer. The individual loyalty program for the license or permit holder should not kind of accompany some other program tied to anyone in another tier or some other store like that. The next section kind of covers what we potentially see as the issues. So even though you may have a loyalty program, you do need to be aware and make sure that it's not including the use of coupons. Additionally, if you are an on-premise retailer, you need to make sure that any the kind of offerings that go along with the loyalty program do not conflict with the TABC Rule 45.103 covering on-premise promotions. I think some of the main ones in there to kind of be aware of is anything that's going to talk about a loyalty program that potentially would allow, like an open bar, an unlimited amount of drinks, maybe for like a buy-in price, that would be a problem. Or if the loyalty program is in some way kind of going over the amount of product that's allowed to be sold at one point in time to a given consumer, that's also contained in that 45.103. All right, that actually kind of covers it for this advisory. Not a whole lot of updates. And again, like I said, it was really just to incorporate the loyalty program rule that was recently drafted that was not in existence when this advisory was first published back in 2005. So at this point in time, I will take any questions or comments on Marketing Practices Advisory 14.
Hey, Matthew, Marcus Schwartz, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthew. I like to hear myself talk. Marcus Schwartz, Bracken Schwartz, PLC. Thank you for this. I don't have any I don't have any issues really with this. I do have one, and it kind of goes towards not necessarily the tweaks you have in here, but some of the underlying substance, because I get this question a lot, and frankly, I'm not sure how this is done, but these loyalty programs, obviously you can't use coupons, but it somewhat gets complicated as to what exactly is a coupon and what's not. And one of the common things I get from clients are, can we shoot someone an email with a barcode for their discount, and then they show us just on their phone, and we scan on their phone their discount and apply it to their bill as part of the loyalty program? And would that constitute a coupon or not? They're not physically cutting something out, but it's similar very much to a coupon.
Yeah, we would still view that as a coupon. I understand, like in that scenario, you're not having to cut it out. But I think that's kind of more, I guess, the modern way of cutting something out instead of having to physically cut it out because it's being done then by electronic means. That's still something that the consumer has to either kind of receive on their own and then take up to the store and present to the store to get that discount. Versus,
understood. So, and tell me if I'm off here, but what I've generally discussed with clients is it would be preferential to say you have a membership number or whatever, tell the retailer your membership number, and they can look through your records, whether you have, some available credit that you could use, so to speak, and then they could apply it that way. Is that fair?
Yes. Yep. I think that's the easiest way. I've seen this done a lot of times, even if they don't know their membership number, the consumer signed up.
Yeah,
for that
give them your name
program,
or what have you. Yep.
Name or your phone number or something that's tied to it. Yeah. So,
okay.
Yep.
Thank you. That's it on my end. Appreciate it.
Tyler Rudd.
Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning, Matthew. Tyler Rudd with the Wine Institute. I just have a question about the loyalty program and applying it to specific products. That would seem to me that would be more of a coupon. So if you accrue loyalty points at a retailer or a manufacturer, the credit or whatever it may be, should that applies to all products, not specific products. Like a retailer or manufacturer cannot say, your points can only go to this bottle of wine or this brand of wine or this brand of vodka or et cetera, et cetera. Is that correct?
In essence, yes. I mean, I think the main thing is that, it needs to be tied to the point accrual system could be tied to any purchases, but obviously there is going to be some kind of discretion that we see is allowed on the retailer side, or maybe it's the manufacturer selling directly to the consumer to choose what specific products are there that are going to get discounted. It doesn't have to mean that it only could be 10% off any purchase. If for some reason that there is a specific product that they are, trying to push at that moment because it's a big seller for them, they could choose that one product as a piece of the loyalty program that could be eventually discounted.
Wouldn't that really just be a coupon then for that product?
In that essence, we would not consider that a coupon because they're not having to present anything or cut anything out that then would be redeemable. It would just be the way that their points are going to get used for the discount.
Well, I can't say I agree with that, and I'd suggest that any loyalty program that a retailer or manufacturer may have be applied to the products sold, not specific products, because to me that screams coupon.
Okay, we'll take that into consideration and have a discussion and then incorporate some more information into the advisory to kind of highlight that specific topic.
And for anybody else, feel free to disagree with me. I'd love to hear other people's opinions.
Okay, well, it looks like at least we have a comment from Kyle. Is that? Oh, well, I'd like to assume it might be Kyle Hill, but I'm not sure. But his comment is that proof of membership in a loyalty program to receive discount or comp alcoholic beverage isn't a coupon. Opting to use the accrued points for a discount comp isn't a coupon. Okay, so thank you for that comment, Kyle. Do we have any other questions or comments?
Good morning, it's Amy.
Good morning, Ms. Harrison.
So loyalty program, I trade with the retailer and I purchase tacos and drinks. And every time I get my taco and drink, I get a hole punch and a card. And then when my card is completely punched, I can go retrieve that and obtain tacos. But I obtained many of those hole punches with my consumption of alcoholic beverages. Is that still a loyalty program, or is that punch card a coupon?
That is an interesting scenario. The punch card, I guess, could be viewed as a coupon, but in your example, whenever they're presenting that punch card, once it's fully been punched out to their, I guess, the retailer, potentially the manufacturer, it sounded like you said that the only thing they would be able to receive then is non-alcoholic products.
That's what I've recommended to them because I believe that punch card otherwise was a coupon. So I told them that they could only give out tacos, but I'd love to know if I'm wrong.
Well, if they presented a punch card and they were never able to purchase alcohol, but the only thing that punch card got them, it sounds to me in this example like that would be a coupon, but at the end result of it, it's a coupon to purchase a non-alcoholic beverage product. And we are not saying that coupons can't be used for non-alcoholic beverage items.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Looks like we have another comment from, I think it says Melissa. So her comment is that profit margins are different for different items. Applying the rewards across the board as the same for any product doesn't take into consideration those profit margins. Okay, thank you for that comment, Melissa.
Hey guys, this is Clark Smith. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are. Good morning, Mr. Smith.
Anyways, thanks. Longtime listener. This is my first time calling in. I had a comment about whether distinguishing between different types of manufacturers might allow certain loyalty activities that someone can engage in, and specifically whether a brewery or a distributor of brewery products could provide direct to consumer, not direct to consumer in the sense of shipments, but could provide loyalty programs that a wholesaler or a distillery or winery couldn't. And what I'm building this off of is whether or not 10207 and the prohibitions there do distinguish between winery distiller on the one hand versus a brewer and beer distributor on the other. I don't have a firm answer or opinion on it, but could it be worth considering whether, again, a brewer or distributor can provide for, in particular, like on-premise loyalty programs at retail locations that a winery or distillery wouldn't be able to. Anyways, that's my comment.
Okay, I'm not sure I fully understand exactly kind of where that's going, especially, I guess, in the context of 10207, because that more or less is tied to inducements and prohibitions between the upper tiers in the actual retailer versus the products sold to the consumer. And our focus on this really is any discounting or potentially a loyalty program on purchases from either the retailer or the manufacturer that's authorized to sell directly to consumers. So those sales with the consumers versus any of the sales or anything that's happening between the tiers that don't involve the consumer.
Got it. Fair, very fair point. I guess let me kind of rephrase it. I can totally appreciate that 10207 prohibits a manufacturer from compensating a retailer for loyalty programs to consumers. My question or my thought is, does that apply to breweries and brewery products? And if not, what would the parameters be for a brewer or beer distributor to reimburse a retailer for loyalty programs to its consumers? Anyways, I realize it's kind of out of left field, but it's something I've kind of thought about in the past and just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah, that sounds like a scenario that we did think of, that's referenced in the very last bullet point on page 2. And so within that, we talk about something that should not be done, and that would be having a retailer that it is directly or indirectly receiving a reimbursement or somehow kind of refunded money for having their loyalty program, and that those funds stem from an upper tier. Your description of your scenario very much sounds like that would be a problem, because then you do have an upper tier member that is essentially funding that loyalty program on behalf of the retailer.
No, you're right. I mean, you did describe what I laid out there. My question is whether that prohibition still applies to breweries and beer distributors. I guess what I'm coming down to, does 10207 apply to brewers and beer distributors? The strict letter of the law there, they don't seem to be included, but I know that it's common practice for us to bring them in as the broader class of manufacturers. Anyways, that's my comment.
Yes, the prohibition is analogous even outside of 10207, because on the malt beverage side, that you still have kind of those same prohibitions against things of value and funding of these types of programs that would flow to the retailer. And I believe that's just going to be elsewhere. It might be in like 10215, but it should be the statute that talks about the prohibitions on things of value and all of that for malt beverages. So even though brewers were removed from 10207, there is still an analogous statute that would prohibit that type of practice as well on the malt beverage side, just like it would on the liquor side for wineries and distilleries. Oh, yep, okay. And Marcus Schwartz just had a comment as well, and it looks like he was bringing up 10214 and then the one I was talking about, 10215. So I think that does kind of answer the question that, yeah, that prohibition or that problem applies to the brewers on the malt beverage side as well equally.
So I just wanted to point out 10215, and you're right, that does have a lot of the similar language from 10207, but it, I think, importantly carves out promotional activities that the brewer or distributor can engage in that 10207 doesn't have an analogous provision in, and whether promotional activities could encompass loyalty programs for for on-premise consumers. So anyways, I kind of leave it at that. I realize that that's kind of a long-winded comment or thought.
Okay, yeah, no, but still a good comment. That's something that we'll take a look at and see how that provision plays into it. I do know which one you're talking about. I believe it talks about pre-announcing promotional stuff to consumers. So we'll take a look at that and see how that could fit in with this. Okay, and then Marcus had another comment about the pre-announcement stuff. There is provisions that are contained or language contained in 10207 that talks about that as well. But like I said, we'll definitely take a look at that and see if that's anything that can be kind of incorporated to highlight in the advisory. All right, any other questions or comments on marketing practices advisory 14? All right, well, thank you everybody for that one. Now we will move on to the much shorter portion of today's stakeholder meeting. So we also put up here some draft changes to marketing practices advisory 61, which covers alcohol delivery. So all this is a clerical fix down on page 3. We realized that there was a footnote that was not removed when we republished this advisory after the law had changed. And that footnote talked about when to go transactions were not allowed at the time from like mixed beverages. And so there was a position by the agency that because you couldn't sell to go at that time, that just delivering something to a parking lot that is contained right there on your premises would not constitute the authorized delivery to a unlicensed premises or an unlicensed location. But after that, the legislature went in and opened everything up. And now it is very clear under the law that, you know, mixed beverages and private clubs, they are allowed to sell alcohol to go. Obviously that, you know, has to accompany a purchase of food and everything. But because of that, we realize that this footnote is no longer applicable. And so all we're doing is removing that to make sure that the advisory is accurate with the way that the law works currently. And so I'll take any kind of questions or comments on that. I would imagine there may not be a whole lot. This is pretty simple. We just, again, wanted to make sure that it was accurate. And so that footnote did need to be removed. All right, it looks like we do not have any questions or comments on that. So that kind of wraps up everything that we have today. I'll open the floor again just real quick in case anyone has another question or comment on anything we discussed today.
Hey, Matthew, this is Lance Lively. I've got
Hey,
some
Lance.
questions. I've got some questions regarding the current language on the liability of retailers on the delivery side that I know it's not appropriate in this forum today, but need to talk to you about offline at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely get something set up and have a phone call.
Great, thank you.
No problem. All right, it looks like that.
This is Amy. On marketing practices 61, the title alcohol delivery and sales by certain retail permit holders. From the time that this was written in 2020, I found that it was somewhat confusing in the fact that the bulletin really applies to mixed beverage and private club holders and not other retailers. And it might be helpful just in the title if we go ahead and say what retailers this delivery applies to, just because I find that wine and beer retailers feel a little left out and they try to go to this. So it just might be helpful. That's just a comment.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe because of the title, at least in your experience, it's adding some confusion for those permit license holders that are not a mixed beverage or private club.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yep, we'll take a look at that, absolutely. All right, it looks like that is all we have. I just want to say thank you everyone for your time today. And as always, this is not the only time that you can, make a comment. You can definitely shoot me an email, matthew.cherry@tabc.texas.gov. We'll continue to accept any other comments or suggestions or edits that anybody would like to make on these advisories. All right, well, that concludes it for today. So thank you everybody and have a great rest of your day.